So a lot of ministers don't know what their children really are. Read my lips. A lot of ministers, both the father and the mother, don't really know who their children are. They see their daughters very sanctimonious and holy. They see their sons very sanctimonious and holy. But when you dig deep, if you want to know, go into the word and find out who your children truly are. Because every armed robber comes from a home. Every bad leader comes from a home. And so it is with every champion. They all come from a home. And all of these things traces back to parenting. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. I am Nke God. God bless you. So today, I want to talk about the minister's child. Yes. And I will be talking from the perspective, from the viewpoint of a minister's child. A whole lot has been happening with the minister's child that a whole lot of people are not even aware of, because the society has painted a picture of what a minister's child should be like. Okay, if you are wondering what minister am I talking about, I've dropped a video on the minister's wife. So I am referring to the pastor, the evangelist, the bishop, the reverend, the GO, or the superintendent of any denomination, any Christian denomination. So I am referring to the child and children born by this set of people. And I am majorly concerned about the male figure as far as the minister or the ministry is concerned here. I am not talking about the female ministers. My concern is on the male ministers. So the society has painted a whole lot of picture as to what and who a minister's child should be, what they should look like, how they should behave, where they should be, what they should be doing, as in their lives has been organized, quote and unquote, by the society. And so the minister's child is being born into an already made world in the hearts of so many people, including their parents, including their own parents. So you see that in the church, a minister's child does something, and if you see everybody like, and a pastor Pikino, and a GO Pikino, hey, na bishop Pikin be this, na superintendent children be this, all manner of comments, and nobody seems to give heed to why such child or children are behaving in such a way. Because they believe that the parents are in that position, in that office, so the children should be able to do better. They expect a whole lot. There is a standard, there is a status quo, there is a statute that has been prepared by the parents of the children of the minister, or the ministers who happens to be the parents of these children, and the society, the church, and everybody. So it is easier for anybody to want to caution a child, like an ordinary church member, child or children, a choir member's child or children, a nobody member, child or children. But cautioning a minister's child or children, people are skeptical about it. They tend to withdraw. They tend to like, what am I going to even say? Because the father should know better. The mother should know better. They have been given these children training, but they refuse to, That is how a minister's child or the minister's child has been placed. Coming to the side of the parent, the Bible said in the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 6, the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is grown, he will not depart from it. Not the reversal. Train a child when he is grown. But that is what many ministers do to their children. most of them have little or no time to train their children. Most of them don't even know what training a child is like. Remember I said I'm talking from the viewpoint of a minister's child. Our parents expect us to, is it expect? Okay, yes, there's that expectancy, assumption, which is a very costly thing. They assume you have to be spiritual from the womb. As soon as they conceive you, you should already know that you are coming into the home of a title holder, an office holder, the office of the pastor, the office of the GO, the office of the evangelist. So as you are being born, your life is supposed to be patterned to the way that will be pleasing to them, because, quote and unquote, whatsoever you do, they don't even bother about you disgracing yourself. They will always say, you are bringing shame to me. You are bringing shame to this family. What do you think people will say? What do you think people will do? By the time they hear that the minister's child is like this, you are idolatred in school, you are just nothing. So we grow up from that family where everything is expected to happen in us automatically. You are expected to attend revival programs, every church program, every midweek program, every convention, every conferences, because it is expected that all of these things trains you. Every activity in the church should train you. Every program in the church, that is where your training should come from. As your father stands on that podium talking, you should be trained. Parenting is totally different from the office you occupy. If you are a minister's child or you are minister's children watching this video, and you come from a minister's home that they give you proper training, kudos to you. But if you can relate to what I am sharing now, kudos to you too, because I would believe that you must have made a lot of your mistakes and you have also come to the good life, to the kind of life you are supposed to live. So, we come from that family where it is stereotyped. Communication is one way. You receive instruction from your father. Do this. Don't do that. He doesn't come back and say, what I asked you to do, how did it go? Did it go well? Let me see it. There is nothing like a feedback. It is just one-way communication. When it's supposed to be a kind of is it triangular? No, rectangular kind of. You send information, the information is being received, the information is being digested, the information is being processed and carried out, then the person that have given you that information, that is, receives a feedback. That is when it will be balanced. But no, it is not like that. Why? Because most ministers are busy building other people's homes, busy building other people's children, busy being loving, being caring, being concerned, being available for every other person in the church, every other family, every other child that has a problem. They have a way they relate with these children. They have a way they relate with the wives of these men that are complaining. But coming back to their home, it is zero. And that is where a lot of things goes wrong. Your first ministry is your home. When you fail in your home world, just forget it, that your ministry is what? A caricature. Or is that word heavy? Your ministry is also a failure. That is how I will put it. And so you see a lot of ministers who have lost their control at home. They can't control their home. They can't give instructions. They can't correct. They come out to pounce on their children or their wife, to discipline them. Because they know that their family or those children will not want to revolt in the public, because the children are respecting the office of the pastor, the office of the GO, the office of the bishop, the office of the superintendency or the superintendent. So they tend to be calm and receive whatsoever instruction that is coming from their minister father, because you have lost your control there in the house. It is difficult for the minister's children to have a cooperative life, if you understand what I mean. Because each and every one of them are afraid of each other. They just live by the stereotype kind of instruction they are being given in the name of training. So it is difficult for them to voice out. You don't have an opinion. That is how you are being trained. You don't have an opinion. Your opinion doesn't count. Your feeling doesn't count. So you wouldn't have an issue and you want to talk to your father about it, and he will welcome you. As soon as he finishes listening to you, he will say, shut up. If that is what you want to say, you don't have any opinion. Your feeling doesn't count. Oh, Dad, I'm feeling sick. I won't be able to go to church today. I won't be able to go for this program. That is none of my business. As a minister's child, you should be the first person in the church. Now, when these people are talking, sometimes they say, the Lord called me and not my children or my wife. But it is still these same children and the wife you will always expect to be in the church, to be in every program. Why? Because you don't want people to look at you and say, why is it that his family is not here and he's the only one here? So when it comes to you issuing out others, it is the Lord that called you. But when it comes to your family, saying, since the Lord have called only you, or you move, so that we stay back. We can't be going for every weekly activities. We can't be going for every convention, every conferences and all of that. He won't take it because he assumed that all of those things should mold you. And as a minister's child, we are being left to wriggle and find our way through. So we live with fear under the roof of our parents. We want to do everything or most of the things they want us to do. By the time we go out into the world, to fit into the society will be a difficult thing. So you have to unlearn some things to learn the new thing that will make you to acclimatize with the society you find yourself. And that is why we have a lot of ministers' children living a double standard life. It's not their fault. Because no training at all was given to them. They were left open. And so a minister's child behaves a certain way in the house within the church. But by the time the person leaves for school, most especially when they get to the higher institution, because the control of their parents is still up and over them while they are still in primary school up until secondary school, most especially if they didn't attend boarding school in any of the stages. But when you get to the tertiary institution, you wouldn't be going from the house most of the time. So they are left to go into the world. And with the assumptions that the conferences, the conventions, the weekly activities and all of that have trained you, you should be able to know how to stand firm, which is wrong. They go into the world and get exposed to so many things and they don't know how to fall, what to fall on. So they fall on friends and they follow the lead of friends. So we have ministers' children being escorts, night escorts. You understand what I mean? They do all of those things in the school. By the time they are coming home for weekend or for holiday, they come back as ministers' daughters, ministers' sons. Whereas back on campus, they are cultists, they are night crawlers, and all whatnot. They are strippers. It is not their fault. Their fault in any way. It is the fault from the home. The father have refused to give training because in recent time, training of children has been left in the hands of the women, the mothers, the wives. And these women, the ministers' wives, are being cumbered with a lot of things. The father is busy flying from one place to another, reading, preparing for Bible studies, preparing for conferences, and no time at all. It is not the fault of the children, it is the fault of the fathers. Remember the children of Eli. God told Samuel, he said, I am disappointed in Eli because of the way he has brought his children up. I'm going to leave that Bible portion here so that you read in case you have forgotten that story. Did God told Samuel that I am disappointed in Eli's wife? No, because it is expected that you want good leaders. You, the father, should train your children. It is the training you give to the mother, your wife, that she in turn releases into these children. But when you don't give, because you receive from God, and you pass it on to your wife, and your wife pass on to your children, so it will be easier. As your wife is passing it on to your children when you are not around, when you are around, the children does the same thing, and you bring in the same thing. They know that, what mommy is saying is different. It's not different from what daddy is saying. So it is balanced. So ministers, pastors, GOs, superintendents, Can you go back home and take care of your home? That is your first ministry. God is not going to blame your wife. It is your sole responsibility as the father of that house. When you are busy training other people's children, molding other people's life, your own children are hooligans, they are harlots, they are incompetent. No wonder most ministers' children, you wouldn't see them wearing the shoes of their fathers. You can't. It is just very, very, very few of them. Remember, I said, if you come from a minister's home, that you have proper training, congratulations to you. But if you can relate with what I'm talking about, I am not saying all ministers are like that, but majority of them. That is why that man, that pastor, that GO, that evangelist, that reverend will not be bold enough to hand over the podium to his daughter of 28 years, to his son of 25 years, to handle anything apart from even to lead an opening prayer. Most times they can't do it. Because of what? They themselves know that what they are producing in the house is nothing. So a lot of ministers don't know what their children really are. Read my lips. A lot of ministers, both the father and the mother, don't really know who their children are. They see their daughters very sanctimonious and holy. They see their sons very sanctimonious and holy. But when you dig deep, if you want to know, go into the world and find out who your children truly are. Because people are even afraid to come to tell you. They wouldn't tell you. And that is the reason they will always blame those children. Imagine the father is a very strong minister. These children, they can disgrace their parents. They end it there. They wouldn't come to tell you. You are the failure, not your wife, but you, the minister. My parting words. Train your children. Not concentrating on other people's children and other people's home while your own is lagging behind. Train these children. Your family is your first ministry. Remember, God will ask you, not your wife. God bless you.